The 16 best digital businesses to start right now. Everybody wants a digital business. When they think about ways to create extra money, it seems like a really simple way to do it. We can get started online. It's pretty fast. It's pretty easy. There's very low risk involved. Sometimes it might be because we're worried about our job. We don't know whether or not we've got security. Maybe we've lost our job, or we know that layoffs might be coming. Maybe we just don't like our job. Maybe we're in a situation where we, really don't like our boss. We don't like our job. We'd rather be doing something else that we're excited about. We might just want to pursue a passion. Maybe it's something that, we're not really fulfilled and we feel like there's this other opportunity that if we just get involved in that, we'll be able to reach that sort of fulfillment and tap into that creative thing that we've got that we really like. Maybe we want to be our own boss, make our own hours. That's always romanticized in the world of business because people feel as though if we're our own boss, we don't have somebody telling us what to do, where we need to be, when we need to be there. It's not all it's cracked up to be all the time, but nonetheless, it does have its benefits and advantages for sure. There's 100 different reasons why people want to start a digital business, but it's very, very popular right now because digital business is the fastest, easiest, and cheapest way to do it if we want to try some sort of entrepreneurial venture. If you think about what you would have needed to do in the past, basically to be able to start a business, we pretty much would have to give up our job. We'd have to give up whatever vocation we've got because in order to be able to start a business, we needed to invest all of our time to be there. If we had an office or we had a storefront, you need somebody in that store, in that office all the time. You also have to spend the money on the overhead for the rent for the building or any other kind of equipment. So it was a much bigger undertaking because the risk was far higher, the investment was far higher, and obviously, it was something that you would need to do to replace what you were currently doing. Now, because we can do it as a digital business from our own home, our own bedroom, our own basement, office, whatever, it makes it very, very easy because we can start it off usually as a side hustle. So the great benefit of that is that we could keep everything else going while we're getting up and running. So if we have a job, if we have an existing business or anything else, we can do this on the side without risking what we're currently doing. It's a little bit of extra work to be sure, but the trade-off is that you get to try something else and with the opportunity to scale that up if it's working, and we don't have to sacrifice or risk what we're currently doing. So it makes it very, very attractive. The idea that there's minimal risk, the idea that we can do it as a side hustle, and ultimately it's usually a very low investment financially as well. So that being said, let's look at the hottest trends right now. If we want to start a business, if we want to get into something right now, and we're not really sure what business to start, let's look at the hottest trends that have the best chance of success and profitability based on industry and market factors. Now, based on the trends and market demands, I've broken these basically into 5 main areas. So the first main area is going to be e-commerce and retail. So e-commerce and retail businesses are basically things where we're going to be selling products. Now, again, we might be doing it out of our bedroom or out of our basement or garage, but unlike the old days, we don't need to house a warehouse full of stuff in order to be able to sell it. So we can still sell retail goods without needing to have a ton of inventory on hand. And so one of the real benefits of this is it's a durable, legitimate, simple product that people can easily see the benefits of, the value of, and want to be able to buy. So generally the sort of lifting that's required to get somebody to make a purchase or to make a sale is pretty low because with e-commerce and retail, there are already products that people would want to buy anyway. The downside is the other issue is it's scalable, which makes it very nice because we can always scale up if we have a marketing system that's working really well. The downside is They are, generally products that then need to be shipped. There's usually costs involved with that. So there are pros and cons to that. So the first type of business within that is just an e-commerce store. So if we have any kind of product or service or product that we want to sell, and we want to be able to do that, we can set up a website relatively quickly. There are a bunch of platforms that do it, and it's a pretty straightforward sale. All we're going to do is list our products on the site and then drive traffic to the site, and people are able to make a purchase once they get there. So we can start with a limited inventory. We can also use drop shipping. So we don't necessarily need to even house this stuff ourselves. We can use a platform like Shopify to manage orders and payments. There are a ton of other platforms out there like ClickFunnels and things like that, where we're going to be able to get payments and collect them online and then ship the products out. The second business sort of model inside this e-commerce and retail is drop shipping. So I alluded to this in the first one. This is something where we don't house actually any of the products. All we're doing is being sort of the middle person that's generating the sales for a product or service that somebody else has, that we're then going to tell them how many to ship and where to ship them. We don't have to hold the inventory. So the big advantage of that is we don't need any physical space, and we don't need to spend the money up front to buy all of the supplies. The partner is our supplier who's going to ship the products directly to customers. We can upload them a customer list with basically the place to ship it and what to ship, and that can all be done sort of automatically, so it makes it really easy. All we have to focus on really is the sales, which is really, really nice. Third one, which is a little nichey, but it's really hot, is an online plant nursery. So with the increasing interest in home gardening, the online plant nurseries can be really great. Going to nurseries, I know just in town, first of all, generally they tend to be crowded. There's a lot of people there. The prices aren't always very good, and you can't always get what you want. So if we're able to sell plants, seeds, and gardening supplies online, even though it seems counterintuitive because it seems to be one of those walk-in type businesses, it actually can be very lucrative because the margins can be good, and there could be a pretty big demand for it, while the competition is low relative to some of the other industries and some of the other niches we could go into. A fourth area is handmade goods. So this could be something like an Etsy store, where if we have a handmade or some sort of thrift goods that we know that we can create, then we could actually turn that into a profitable venture. If we have a hobby where we make something that we really like, we like to customize things, maybe we're not so worried about the scalability. It's more about the creative outlet of being able to create something and selling. So if we have a platform like Etsy, they are tailored to those kinds of businesses and work really, really well. So those are sort of all the areas of the retail e-commerce that we can do online. So as opposed to the old days where we would need a storefront or a place to be able to meet people face to face to make the exchanges, now we can do it all online. We can automate a lot of it, and in a lot of cases we can even drop ship where we don't even have to house this stuff ourselves. And so it allows us to tap into that entire market. And e-commerce right now is booming. It's huge. So those are all great businesses to be in. The second category of businesses are the services businesses. So the service businesses are anything where instead of providing a physical product, we're actually providing a service for our clients in exchange for money. Now there's pros and cons to these too. One of the greatest things about offering services is that oftentimes these are repeat buyers. So if you sell a product, if you sell perfume or something like that online, people might buy it, they might come back and buy it again, but they only need it once they've used it up, or if they're buying it for a gift for somebody else. With a service, if we're doing a service for people, oftentimes in its own very nature, it's something that they're going to want repeated over and over again. So that is given to lifelong customers, and customers where we can build up a pretty large service base and have a nice recurring income that continues to come in. So that's one of the really nice things. One of the downsides to services is that we're exchanging time for money in some regard. Now, it may not be our own time. We might have a team, we might have outsourcers, we might have some other way we're doing this to provide that service. But at the end of the day, we still are exchanging one thing for another. So that makes it a little bit less scalable unless we have a way to scale up our manpower or our footprint to be able to provide these services. Whereas with products that are being manufactured, you can scale that easily because the manufacturer will gladly make more if we can sell more. So businesses within this area are like a digital marketing agency. So digital marketing is huge right now. Obviously, people are looking to get into digital businesses, but they have very little idea about how to do search engine optimization, pay-per-click or paid advertising, social media marketing. All of those areas are growing. And so if we have expertise, if we develop expertise in any of those areas, or if we hire a team that has expertise in those areas, we can actually get into those business models and we can actually make progress in terms of building a scalable business because we know that all of those industries are growing. And so it can be very, very profitable because we can charge them for things, and if we're generating traffic and sales for them, they're likely to continue to pay for that, and they're going to pay us well as long as they're making a profit. And so if we have expertise in those areas, or we know people who do, or can hire people who do, that could be a really great business. Another one is freelance services. Now, the nice thing about freelance services is we don't necessarily need a team, especially initially. If we have a skill, if we have, if we're a copywriter, if we have graphic design skills, if we have web development skills, these are all in really high demand. And while there is the advent of AI, if it's used correctly, we can even use AI ourselves as a crutch to do it. Very few business owners are at a level of sophistication and understanding with AI where they're going and using it all themselves. They still need help. They still need to understand what they need to do in order to be able to use the AI. And so we can use it as a crutch. While we always want to customize it and make it our own and make it unique to our client, at the same time, we can use it to create the frameworks for what we're trying to do. So freelance services like freelance writing, graphic design, web development are all in really high demand. And the great thing is it's easy to find customers because we can go on a platform like Upwork or Fiverr and we can find clients, we can set up a gig, or we can apply for jobs that are posted by employers that want this stuff, businesses that want this stuff, and it can help us find clients and build a portfolio rather quickly and rather easily. In fact, I did an interview with a guy who started his entire freelance copywriting career on Upwork, and he built an agency out of it. It was never his intention. But what happened was he was getting so much demand for his work because he did good work. He was getting 5-star reviews that all of a sudden everybody started to want his services. And now he has a team, he has a whole company, and this is exactly what they do. And that's exactly how he started to build it on Upwork with a gig that he had put up or jobs that he had applied for. He made a profile. He got some clients, they loved him, they kept using him, and it grew from there. So we can find clients and build a portfolio. Another outsource or service-based thing we can do is virtual assistant. As a virtual assistant, we can offer services that involve any kind of tasks, and this requires less specific, deep skill in one area and more general skill across a range of areas. So if we're good at organizational skills, if we're good at data entry, customer management, scheduling, any of those kinds of things, we can put ourselves up as a virtual assistant or an executive assistant if we have a little bit more polish and a little bit more sort of attentiveness to a C-level type person, then we can do that as well. And the great thing about that is it doesn't require deep expertise in one area. It just requires us to be able to be good across a variety of areas at a certain level. Now, the other thing is this is a very scalable option because this is also a skill that can be outsourced. So we can find other VAs, we can hire them, bring them on the team, and whether or not our client ever knows they're involved is up to us. But the fact is, that is something that we can build a team around and do it really, really well. So that's a flexible option. It can be started with a minimal investment and it can go really, really well. Another area is online coaching and consulting. This is another area that's absolutely exploding because if we have expertise in a particular field, even if we gain that expertise on the job, like maybe we work for somebody else, but we developed a pretty deep skill set in one particular thing, well, we can now turn and offer that as coaching or consulting services online to other people. I've interviewed a lot of coaches and a lot of consultants, and I can tell you in some ways, in some cases, they got their start working for somebody else. In other cases, it was something that friends and family and people always told them, you're really good at this. Can you give me some tips? Can you give me some advice? And then they just realized, you know what, I should actually offer this as a service because so many people come to me for it anyway. And so these are coaching and consulting things are really passion-based businesses, right? These are things where we need a deep level of expertise or a love for it in a way that we're going to want to be in this, immersed in this all day, every day. Because if we build this up to a significant level, this is all we're going to be doing. And so it's super important, whether it's business consulting, fitness coaching, lifestyle coaching, parenting, all these different kinds of things. There are coaches basically for everything. And so if we have a passion and a skill somewhere, that can be a really great business to start. The next area of businesses are the creative and content-based businesses. Now, the benefits of this is it gives us a creative outlet. So if it's something that we really love and we enjoy, it allows us to use our creativity in a way that we can monetize that. So that's really excellent. The downside is, again, oftentimes this is something where we're sort of trading time for money. And of course, we do need to be a little bit conscious of the fact that, there is the advent of AI and that evolution. And so we want to make sure that we stay on top of that and use it to our advantage and not let it overtake our business. So businesses in this sort of realm are content creation. So starting a blog, a YouTube channel, or a podcast can be a great way to monetize our own content. So if we have content that we want to create, and it's not so much that we want to do it for other people, but we want to do it for ourselves, we can build out our own profile. We can build out our own platform and build a following in that particular area. And once we do that, we'll have advertisers that want to be able to advertise to our audience. We'll get sponsorships from companies who want to be associated with our customer base. And we can do affiliate marketing and promote other people's products and services, which will make us money as well. There's voiceover services. I've used a number of voiceover services. So I have people that have done voiceovers for my video sales letters. And if we have a good voice and we have a good ability to read things and sound persuasive or convincing, then with the rise of digital content, there are a lot of people that are either uncomfortable using their own voice. They don't want to use AI generated stuff because they feel it's a little bit too synthetic-y. And so they're willing to pay for outsourced voiceovers. And there actually can be a really lucrative business. And because you're behind the microphone, you can do it on your own time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not really that hard. But there's increase in demand for videos, audiobooks, and ads where they need narration and voiceovers and things like that. And so that can be an area that we go into. We can also sell art and prints. If we're a creative sort that likes to do artwork on the side or whatever else, the one really nice thing about that is it's completely unique. Whatever sort of art we're going to create, nobody else is going to have the same art that we do because it is a unique skill and it's a unique talent, and everybody has their own unique eye and flavor and style. And so if we're an artist, we can sell our artwork, we can sell our prints online. So we can set up a website to do that as well. And we can use sites like Etsy or Redbubble or various other platforms to be able to showcase our art and be able to sell it online. The next big functional area for businesses is education and training. So the pros for this, what's great about education and training is it's absolutely exploding. Everybody's trying to learn something about something. And so if we provide training, if we provide education, the amount of information that's out there right now is overwhelming. So people want courses, people want walkthroughs, people want to be told the steps that they need to follow to learn what they need to learn. And so if we create an education program or a training program that does that, it's really fantastic. The downside is a lot of times education and training needs to constantly be updated. So unlike maybe a physical product like a bottle of perfume, we do have to keep evolving. We have to keep getting customer feedback, making the training and the education better and better. So that way, it stays relevant, it stays up with the times, and people stay engaged with it. So businesses in this niche would be things like online courses. We can create and sell online courses and do it on platforms like Udemy or Teachable. And we can create a profitable business that way if we have an expertise in a particular subject or a love of something that we can create. We can do language tutoring. This is a really big one right now. If we're bilingual or we have a language that other native language speakers would want to learn, we can offer language tutoring services. That can attract a global audience. With the world getting smaller and smaller, everybody feels like they need to know another language. So platforms like italki and Verbling can help connect with students and find customers that way. And then the last area is the niche markets. And the pros of this are that we usually have very little competition relative to a lot of these other things. The con is that we really need to be something that we're passionate about or really enjoy. And the market can be smaller, so there could be limited scalability and growth. These include things like subscription boxes. We've seen these advertised online where we curate and sell a subscription box of a particular kind of interest or product. So it could be a beauty box, it could be a snack box, a book box, things like that. And we ship it out once a week or once a month or whatever. That could be a really successful business model. We could do travel planning. So if we're passionate about travel, starting an online travel planning business, even though there are a ton of websites that do this, people are always want the human element to help them understand where to go and the best things to do. So we can help clients with itineraries, bookings, and travel tips. And we can do an online personal shopping is another thing. It's a growing business where we offer personal shopping services online and cater to busy people that just don't have time, but they need stuff purchased for them. So they're looking for curated shopping experiences. So starting an online business can be highly rewarding if we choose a venture that aligns with our skills and interests. With dedication and the right strategy, these business ideas can help us build a successful digital enterprise. So the takeaway here is that starting a digital business can be a great way to earn extra money, increase financial security, follow our passions, and maybe even be our own boss. With low startup costs and the ability to keep our current income streams going while we get started, that keeps our risk really low, while the earning potential is really high, which is awesome. It's important, though, that we do something we're passionate about and really enjoy, because despite being easy in relative terms to other business models, it still takes a lot of work and commitment to be successful.